I'm recording right now. K753. Coming to you live.
Coming at you live.
Coming at you live.
Double F.
K753? That didn't even make any sense.
I don't listen to the radio. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Gosh, you called me out so fast. I didn't.
Just don't be sorry. Just don't let it happen again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Forum Thread Podcast number 149. I am Huidabra, and here with me tonight I have Zelda.
Heyo.
Zap45.
Hey.
Chaos Mana.
Hi.
And special guest Craig from the Weirdlings.
Hey, that's not a big deal. Whatever. Hey.
So Craig, is it true what they say? Are you really Zelda in male form?
I don't deal with paper on a daily basis, so I also...
Such a piece of shit.
That's not a denial. It's true, everybody. You heard it here first.
That was actually also like the perfect example of how he is exactly like me.
I don't like the post office.
I don't
Too much stamps. Too much
Post
stamps.
office sucks.
Post office does suck.
Yeah.
FedEx all the way. This podcast sponsored by FedEx.
I wish.
I don't wish. I don't like FedEx. No.
This
We're gonna get cooler
this
sponsors.
podcast sponsored by UPS.
We just keep changing the sponsors until we find one Dark
Well,
likes.
you keep saying it. You keep saying it until someone does sponsor you. That's what I'm trying.
All right, we're gonna spend the next hour just naming off companies.
This podcast sponsored by Monster. Are we just gonna go round
No.
table, or are you just
Hells
gonna, you're just
to
gonna
the
put
no.
me on
I
the
like.
spot?
Oh, this podcast sponsored by Alienware. Hey, Andrea, hit me up.
Hey,
There
there
you
we
go.
Yeah, what's going on?
See,
Okay.
now, Zelda, this is why we keep you around, because you talk sense sometimes.
Sometimes, only sometimes, but I'm cool.
She's
I'm
also
cool
a
with
token scientist, so you know.
Yeah, you weren't here last week to correct us on our science shit,
Thank
so we
God.
scienced the hell out of that podcast
I'm
without
really-
you. Like,
Alright.
I'm really afraid to listen to that one. I'm
You will
really.
be
you
so
should be
proud
afraid
of
to
us.
listen to the one I'm currently editing, 146. That was a similar situation.
Oh boy.
Wait, so this
So
is
much science.
149. What are you on release date wise?
Don't worry about
Release where it's going to
Just
be
don't worry
like
about
we just released 143, and it's going to be like a quick release until this one comes out, and
It's
we're
like-
going to finally be back on schedule.
okay, so for the last, year and a half, we've been saying we're going to catch up on our podcasts, and we consistently are behind by, 3 to 5 podcasts. So just don't worry about it. Just don't think about it. Just go with it.
I wasn't worrying about it until you started to preface it with don't worry about it. Now I'm kind of scared.
Just don't worry about it. Just don't
A
worry
year
about it.
from
Don't
now,
think
this
about
podcast.
it. Look
will
over
come
there.
out.
Look over
We're
there.
gonna be talking about Genghiscon.
You know-
They're like,
you know-
what? 2017? We're like, no, 2016. And they're like, well, where'd all the robots were back in 2016? And we're like, we're sorry.
We're sorry.
But
Alright, you know,
that's
we
Craig,
should-
everybody. All right, I'll see you next time.
I have the perfect way to distract everybody. Dark,
What?
you got a puppy.
Yeah, we mentioned this last week, but you weren't here.
But I
so.
wasn't here, so I want to. Did you tell the story last week about where the name came from?
Oh, okay. So, well, first I heard the name. His name is Ozadax. And I originally heard this in a story that had a dragon in it, and the dragon's name was Ozadax. And I'm like, that's such a cool name. What the fuck does it mean? And so I looked it up, and it means bone eating in Latin.
Huh. Ah.
Oh,
But
that's kind of.
But the cool thing, too, is that there is a species of ocean-dwelling worm that lives at the very bottom of the ocean, in the deepest parts, that actually feasts on whale bones. After all the fleshy bits have been eaten away by everything else, there is a bone-eating worm called Ozadax that lives at the bottom of the ocean that eats whale bones.
Well,
So
okay,
that's his namesake. Ken wasn't on board with the whole bone-eating thing until he found out that there was a subaquatic worm named after it, and he's like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. Let's do it."
Wait,
then. So
whales
we didn't
have
want his dog
bones?
to be named after a dragon, but like
Yeah, he was cool with a worm.
albino squishy worm that eats whale bones. That's fine.
Yeah.
Craig,
All right.
did you just ask if worms or whales had bones?
I don't think so.
Just ask
Let's
that.
move on.
Wait, Craig, what?
What?
I said,
No, let's go back to this.
no, we
Let's
kind
back
of,
the fuck up.
well, we're talking about this puppy, and I lost track of what we're talking about, and then I didn't say anything, and then we're moving on.
No, Craig specifically said whales. Do whales have
So
bones? With a question mark.
Segueing, my friend also got a puppy. It's it's a border collie. It's one of the cutest freaking things. All right, so I know this is an audio podcast, but let me just describe it to you. So
please don't.
black. Well, then look in the link dump, and then there's the picture of my friend's puppy.
There we go. We all know what puppies look like.
Do you know what?
No, you always have to look at pictures of puppies.
Do you know what a puppy is? It's that.
See, the only time you go out of your way to describe a puppy is if there's a unique defining attribute. Like Ozdex has a lazy eye in one of his eyes. You can see it in the picture that I posted on the Skype chat. It just kind of drifts a little bit to the other side there. I'm like, oh, look at you looking at two things at once.
Maybe it's just
unlike me. He can multitask.
Maybe he's just bored. You're talking to him, and he's just like, "What's over there?"
I'm gonna
I got one eye on you, one eye on that thing over there, whatever it is.
Do I have to yell segue when we're segueing things? Is that...
Nope,
Sure.
just
do that.
go for it. Unless you can do it in a cool voice.
So if you
That's just Tejan's thing.
guys could go down the line of all the inside jokes that you have, I'm going to try to work them into this podcast to make it look like I've been listening since day one. Is that all right? Can you guys just go through those real
Do
quick?
we have inside jokes? I don't think we have any inside jokes.
So Zach always messes up his recording.
Okay.
That's not a joke. That's fact.
I mean, one time.
Well, that's
but okay. Go on.
I always somehow bring up animal penises, so there you go.
All right, I'm excited.
That's also
I'm
not
excited.
a joke. That's fact.
Well, those are... What? Facts can be jokes. Facts...
Oh.
Like Donald Trump exists. Hey!
Oh!
Topical. He just won the
Topical.
2016 presidency, and he's
2017 presidency.
I meant if you're listening to this in 2017, he's the one. He's the president. Gosh dang it!
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we're podcasting
so-
from Canada.
And,
Yeah.
and one day we'll get these podcasts out on time. Am I right, guys? Okay.
Okay.
Animal penises.
Animal penises.
Yes.
Indeed.
You should tell him about the echidna penis.
So speaking of animal penises, we were in Denver last week for...
Wait,
Excuse
what?
me.
Genghis penis.
Segue.
How was that Genghis penis?
Oh God.
Oh, okay. When you phrase it like that just makes
Look.
it weird and not okay.
The least.
I'm okay.
I don't
Well,
even.
I've had an entire bottle of wine saved for 1/4 of a glass, so I'm okay with it. If you're not okay with it, then just drink some more, and then you'll be okay with it.
Okay. I got enough NyQuil in me.
Chug!
Yeah,
Jesus
no,
fucking Christ.
So some of us were in Denver for Genghiscon this last week. That's where we got to actually meet Craig.
Hey.
It was a thing. It was
a thing.
It was a good old time. I don't know. I want to ask
I'm-
questions, but I don't know if certain people want to talk about certain events on a podcast.
I mean,
So
if
Zach.
it's anything about my visit, that's fine. We can talk about
Yeah,
it.
It's did you all sign non-disclosure agreements before you went to Genghiscon?
I
Probably
talked about
should
it
have.
on,
Jesus.
I talked about it on the stream. I talked about it on the stream last night. But I think I kind of had the best way that I've been describing it to people. As Genghiscon, the convention. Oh wait, what?
Yeah, it sounds like you're about to do what I was going to say. First, let's describe to anyone listening what the fuck Genghiscon actually is, because otherwise they're going to be utterly confused.
Yeah. Does anybody want to do that, or should I take it?
Sure, I got it.
Go
So
for it.
Genghiscon is a convention that happens in Denver. That is mostly a tabletop gaming convention. I think they said it's the longest running tabletop convention in the U.S. It's this was a year 37 or something like that.
Yep, 37.
And it's under I think it's changed hands a couple times as far as management and coordination has gone, but it's been there for a while. Like I said, mostly tabletop, board game and card game kind of focus and miniatures and all that kind of stuff. But they're starting to try to bring in a more digital presence. There was a LAN center, so they could do League of Legends tournaments, and they had some video gaming, and they had a couple of us there as streamers and things like that. So that's Genghiscon in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ta-da! And we were there, and it was great.
Yeah, and us in the three of us here, Zach, Jen, and I, and a whole slew of other friends that I'm not going to get into, because I start naming them off and then I forget names and then I feel bad. So the way that I've been describing it to my time, at least with to other people, I go, the convention was okay, but the people were the most amazing people that I've ever met in my entire life. And so it made the convention amazing.
Agreed.
So.
Agreed.
On the first night, we got... I mean, do we want to just, like, recap the time? Or, what do we want to
basically,
go?
just go ahead and do that.
Please paint us a picture and teleport us there in story fashion.
So it all started on the day I was born.
No, let's not go that far back.
So it all started on the morning I had my flight that was delayed by 6 hours.
Now we're talking.
I think Zach is the only person that didn't have flight trouble.
Was it
until the very end?
Until the very end. Oh yeah, because you
until the very
on
end.
the. Oh, we'll get. I guess we'll get back to that. Stay tuned. So I'm driving to the airport and I get a text that my flight is delayed by like 6 hours, and so that starts off the con. And I mean, I finally get. Long story short, on my flight stuff is that I have to spend 3 to 4 hours in the airport for a 2-hour flight. And then I finally get a flight out there. And then it turns out that everybody else pretty much had flight troubles, and we got there at the same time. Now let's bring it back, and Jen's going to tell her flight story, because I think it's a lot funnier than mine.
Yeah, so my flight, so I live on the west side of Michigan, and we were flying out of Detroit on the east side, and our flight was supposed to be at like 7 in the morning. And we were like, okay, we can either literally get up at 2 in the morning to drive across the state and be there when we need to be, and risk there being weird weather and driving in the middle of the night and all that stuff. It's like,
well, that's right, because it's the middle of wintertime up there. There's snow and shit, right?
I like how it was like up here. Yes, there's snow and shit up here in our own little world.
It's been nice here. Like we had snow one day, and then work was canceled, and then it melted the next day, and work was not canceled. But yeah, so I forget that it still snows up there.
Yeah, most of our snow had melted at that point, but you never know what it's gonna do. So we're like, we can either do that, or we can leave Tuesday night and just get a hotel room that's near the airport. And we ended up doing that, which is good because apparently about an hour after we left on Tuesday night, it started blizzarding here, and it actually blizzarded all the way up through to when we got home. So like when we showed back up, like after Denver, after Genghiscon, everything was just fucked. But we got out before that happened. So we get to our hotel with just enough time. It's like, hey, we're here. Like, let's go to bed now. And at like 3 in the morning, a bunch of drunk assholes were in our hallway. And they woke me up. And I was like, you motherfuckers, you know how long of a week I'm about to have? I need to sleep. And for whatever reason, they woke me up. And I was like, I feel like I should look at my phone. And I look, and I have a text message from Delta saying, your flight has been delayed by an hour. And we only had a 30-minute layover. So I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So we weren't even going to land until 30 minutes after our next flight was supposed to be taking off. So I hop on the Twitters. For the record, if you have a problem with Delta, don't call them and don't email them. Get on Twitter. Their Twitter people are infinitely more helpful than any other person I've ever talked to with them.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so I've been bitten by a bad luck travel bug. We can talk about that later, but this was part of that saga. So I hop on Twitter and I'm like, hey, I need some help. This is the information I just got. What can we do? And someone responds and says, how close are you to the airport? Because there's actually a flight that leaves an hour earlier that we can get you on. And I was like, we're on it. Put us on that one. So it was literally the last 2 seats on the flight. And I poke Lolink awake. And I'm like, hey, so I know your alarm hasn't gone off yet. We need to leave right now, and I will explain to you while you put pants on. And he's like, okay. Because like by the time
he just goes with it.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm just gonna assume this makes sense, and that she's not sleep talking. So yeah, because it was one of those things like by the time we'd found the new flight, now it's like 4:00, and so it's like we are now at 2 hours till the flight's supposed to go. So I'm like, we have to leave. So we thank God for pre-check. That's all I have to say about that. Is so we managed to throw pants on, got to the airport, got lost trying to find parking at the Detroit airport because their signage is fucking terrible. Eventually made it to the terminal, and even the pre-check line was super long, and we're like, fuck, we're not gonna make this. Like the bag drop line had been forever, and we're like, we're not gonna do it. And as we're starting to get in that line, trying to figure out what else we can do, another TSA agent was like, oh, if you don't mind going downstairs, there's another checkpoint on the lower level that has TSA, that has pre-check. And we're like, like, it can't be worse than this. So we get downstairs and there's one person in line. So we went from, like, almost not making it to, like, having enough time to, like, go grab breakfast. It was fucking awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so then we got on our flights, and our flights were fine, and yeah, like Craig said, instead of landing an hour after everybody, we all landed about the same time.
And I was supposed to get
So
there.
that's
I was supposed
that.
to get there 5 hours earlier than everybody, and I got there at the same time as everybody else.
Yep.
Woo. All right, so that was the beginning of the adventure. Craig, if you would like to continue.
Yeah, sure. And so then, I mean, we just get into the con, get our rooms, normal hotel stuff, and then we start our day, basically get everything set up. I start my day by going downstairs and then getting roped in to fixing the 30-plus computers that they're having in there. Because they're like, internet's broken, and they're like, Craig, he knows things. Come on in. and so then I basically spent 2.5 hours fixing everything for everybody. And then we got to go eat burritos in the freezing cold outside, and I wish I had brought a jacket still.
It was not freezing. It was literally 60 degrees. Go fuck yourself.
I'm sorry. Who had a jacket on and who didn't?
Yeah, exactly. Me and Craig went without jackets, and
That's
there was
Craig
this
and I
moment
did,
where we
yes.
both went out. Whatever, fuck you. Craig and I went out without jackets.
I don't think that's right.
And we're like,
I think
we
it's
don't
Craig and
need.
me.
We don't need. Shut the fuck up. We both looked at each other and like, we don't need. And then we stopped at jacket, and then the wind blew, and then I could immediately see the regret in Craig's eyes, and I'm like, we should have brought jackets.
I mean,
'Cause we.
yeah.
You guys are just wusses. You guys. So we went.
Yeah.
What did we end up doing? Oh, we were walking. We went and got food at Big Burrito.
Big
Yeah,
burrito.
Big burrito.
My purse broke and it turned into a mace. That was awesome.
Flail. I looked it up.
A
Your
flail.
purse turned into a
is
mace?
There's really, yeah, it turned into like a flail kind of thing. So like the strap just like ripped out of it. So then I had this long strap with like the big bag at the end of it. So I was like swinging it over my head.
I actually forgot about that until you said it on your stream. And I was cracking up because you kept flinging it around. And so we go get big. So we get that, and then we also get alcohol.
'Cause why not?
Because why not? Because the store that was just named Liquor, was right
Yes.
next to it.
It was open.
Quality. We got a $20 bottle of gin, biggest bottle of gin I've ever seen,
Yep.
and some rum. And did we get anything else? What else did we get?
And I think we got rum. I got my Tito's. We got the giant bottle of gin. And I want to point out for anybody.
Oh,
who's
you
just
got Tito's?
listening-
I fucking love Tito's.
Fuck, I love Tito's. So yeah, so I got Tito's for me. So I want to point out that this giant bottle of gin that was only $20. It wasn't like we were all looking at it like this has to be super sketchy gin. It was New Amsterdam, which is actually like pretty decent stuff. So it's
Mhm.
not like some bottom shelf bullshit that got purchased.
Yeah.
So
No, it was like it was
Solid
actually
stuff,
it's I've had worse gin is the thing, and it was really good. As we'll get into here in a second.
Yeah.
So this is Wednesday, and then we just go back and we play Cards Against Humanity and get a little drunk. And I'm like super sleepy, and I almost fall asleep. And I swear, if I had fallen asleep, I would have hit that counter and just died right there.
probably.
That's what I was thinking of like the whole time that we were playing Cards Against Humanity.
I do want to point out that I won Cards Against Humanity 3
Yeah.
different times. They had to keep changing the rules because I won too quickly. So like, okay, we're not going to 5, we're going to 8. And I was like, well, I'm at 8. And they're like, okay, well now we're going to 10. And I,
How often do you play Cards Against Humanity?
I'm
Jeez.
just a terrible
She's too
fucking
good.
person.
Yeah. she's
I'm just
too
an
good.
awful human being. Like
I was
that's what it
pretty,
was.
so I wasn't mad then, but I'm pretty pissed that you won so much there. That was ridiculous. I should have won some of those. I think I only had one card at the end of that. That was ridiculous.
I love the quotes that came out of that night. Like my dreams were shattered by fiery poops, and
Yes, I do remember tweeting that.
yes,
I
and then there was
don't.
like wizard length, wizard length.
Oh,
lab
Wizard Length
coats.
Lab Coats! I forgot about that.
Oh, that was a good
So
one.
good.
Good job,
That's a
Craig.
good one.
You make
Good
good
job,
jokes.
Craig.
And so,
Okay, so yeah.
so you freaking
So, Cards Against
school us.
Humanity.
Yeah, school us. Card Against Humanity. Then we wake up like earlier in the morning, right? And then go through the day. Basically, we had streams back to back, starting at 12. Everything goes pretty well. Nothing's too crazy. And then we have Zelda's stream. Her what do you call it? Do you have
Tiara Thursday.
Tiara Thursday. Where we drink and play Legend of Zelda. We played which one did we play?
We were playing Skyward Sword because that's the one cosplay I have is the Zelda from that. So I wore my cosplay and played Skyward Sword.
It was good time. That was a great cosplay too, and you kept saying it was a bad cosplay. It was a really good cosplay.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's one of those things that, like, since it's the first one I've done, it's like there's all these things that I see that are wrong with it that I would love to change. And so it's like, for me, it's terrible because I'm also sitting there next to, like, wonderful cosplayers. And, like, after having sat next to pictures of Carl's stuff all day, I'm like, this is fucking awful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as someone who doesn't cosplay at all, but enjoys it, you look really good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh. So yeah. So I want to talk about the stream from my perspective. And then I would like to hear from Craig and Zach's perspective.
Well, we'll go you, Zach, me. How about that?
Okay. So
sounds like a good plan.
So I'm in my cosplay. We're playing the game. I had already gone through the first chunk of the game on my own at home. So that way we didn't have to do all the boring, like, tutorial bullshit. And so we just jumped right into, like, the Earth Temple, which is in the middle of a volcano. So we did a lot of drinks in there because I kept falling into lava. That was great. God damn it. Yeah, that was not so great. So I'm doing my thing, and everyone's having a great old time, and we've got couch cam, and the couch is having fun, and everything's great. And then, like, at some point,
we're also glossing over a lot of, like, technical issues that happened.
God,
so many technical issues.
I think out of the entire weekend, one stream started on time, and that was my Saturday morning one.
Yep.
So yeah, technical issues up the wazoo. So after all that, so we're doing the stream and everything's great and we're getting into it and everything's wonderful. And at some point, Zach leaves. Mm-hmm. And shortly after that, Low Link taps me and he's just like, hey, he goes, I'm just going to go check on Zach. And I went, sure. But, like, thanks for letting me know. It's where you're going. And it's not like I'm being abandoned by my husband while I'm doing my show. It's great. So I go back to play the game and everything's great. And I'm like, I gotta take a bathroom break. And, like, the couch is still fine and fun and all that. And as I'm going to the bathroom, Low Link is coming out of the bathroom and he's looking, and he's doing that thing where I know something's up, but he's never gonna admit it to me. And he's asking one of these security guys that are there, it's like, hey, can you help me for a second? And I was like, is everything okay? And he goes, yeah, Zach just is having some trouble walking by himself, so I just want to get another hand. And I was like, are you sure? So he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. So I go back to the stream, everything's great, and then the couch abandoned me for reasons that
dungeon crawl. It was a game.
Yeah, it was for the dungeon crawl. So I was like, fine, screw you guys. Craig was still there and started rolling around on the floor.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
I skipped it. I skipped the part that led to Zach going to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. How silly of me. So people are being nice and donating on my stream.
Oh,
and at some point, Craig yells out, if someone donates $100, I will drink an entire cup of gin.
Good size cup.
That's the important part of the story. I forgot to actually point that out. So they say that.
And then I was like, I'll follow up with that because I don't want my friends drinking alone.
Yeah, and Zach was like, oh, me too. Yeah. And I was like, guys, please don't actually do that. So sure enough, someone is Pandemic Blonde, super, super kind, and donates the necessary amount. And these fuckers drink their goddamn cup of gin. Yeah. So now we fast forward, and Zach is in the bathroom, and my husband's helping him. And I come back, and Craig is rolling around on the floor.
I mean, that's okay, then.
And I'm like, but he's still sounding coherent. He's just laying on the floor. And I've been there where it's like where you've been drinking, and it's like a couch just isn't comfortable.
You gotta spread out them organs. You're gonna lose them.
Exactly, yeah. It's just like, the more contact you have with the floor, the less it can move out from underneath you. Like, I get it.
Exactly.
Maybe.
So I'm like, all right, he's on the floor, but, like, he's fine. Like, he's not even really slurring. Like, he's just being Craig, so it's fine. So,
God damn it.
So at some point, Craig disappears. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing the stream, and everything's great. And now it's like, I was supposed to go till, like, midnight. It's like 11, and one of the convention staff people comes nearby and is like, has like a look on his face, and I was like, what's going on? So
that was Tony, by the way.
That was Tony. I didn't know who it was at the time, but it was Tony.
I went back and watched all this.
Okay, so I killed the mic while I was still on stream. I was like, is everything okay? And what he tells me, he's like, he goes, so we're a little concerned about, and he couldn't remember any of your names.
Not
so
yet.
what he says to me,
Yeah, not
what he
yet.
says to me is Kraken Rum Guy had a little bit too much to drink. And Kraken Rum Guy was the Viking dude in my
Which
head.
we do not like, yeah.
Yeah, so but we're not going to talk about him. But like to me, it's like he was the one that was complaining that all the rum was gone. So I was like, oh, that's Kraken dude. So we're a little concerned that he might have had too much to drink. He's out there and he seems really belligerent. And he's been like buying people drinks and giving them alcohol. He's like, and we're a little concerned. So it's like we're thinking about calling an ambulance. And I'm like, oh man, that really sucks. But
Wait.
like you do what you got to do.
Wait, hold on.
I don't know.
You were giving
I'm
people
telling you,
drinks.
this is what I've been told.
Oh no.
So like 20 minutes later, another gentleman comes up and it turns out that's Terry, and Terry's like sits down on the table that's like behind my monitors and is like staring at me like serious face. So I'm like, excuse me 1 moment, stream, and I mute the microphone and I go, what's up? He goes, we've called an ambulance for Zach. And I went, wait, what do you mean Zach? Like what's up with this? He's like, so he fills me in on what's been going on. And so I get back on the stream and I'm like, they can't hear me, but I'm sure they could see my face. So I turn my mic back on and I'm just like, hey guys, I'm really sorry, but something's come up that I need to go take care of. So as soon as we get to a safe spot, I gotta run. You know, I know we're ending 30 minutes early, but I've also been going for 4.5 hours, so I think it works. And so I killed it and got upstairs after the ambulance had already departed, and Low Link is filling me in on everything, and the fact that he had to throw out his shirt. And at the time he thought he had lost his wedding ring. He found it. It's okay. So yeah, so that was a whole big thing.
Wait, so why did he have to throw away his shirt?
That's
Zach,
a good question.
would you like to tell your version of the story? We can explain why Low Link had to throw out his shirt.
I don't remember much, so I'm gonna do the best I can. I remember just like going to the bathroom, and like getting next to a toilet and then just puking a whole bunch. But as Jeff has told me, I may have puked into the sink and then like the vomit ricocheted back into my hair, so I was washing my hair in the sink.
No, what we think happened is that you actually leaned forward too much and that the automatic soap dispenser was doing it. We think that's what it was. So yeah. So
either way, I was washing my hair, unbeknownst to me. And like I just it's black.
Well,
everything is black, and I just remember Jeff's voice saying, like, rubbing my back and like telling me everything's gonna be okay as I was puking. And I just remember saying sorry a whole bunch, and
yeah, you apologized a fuck ton.
So you're an apologetic drunk.
I am.
Aw.
I am.
Yeah,
and then
so-
I woke up in the hospital.
He knows he fucks everything up, so he apologizes.
Yeah, apparently when Jeff got you into the bathroom, and you were like, yeah, I'm good, and so he stood outside, and he came back in to check on you, and he just saw your feet, like, your legs on the floor, and he's like, uh-oh.
I guess that's why I was wondering where that bruise came from. I have
Yeah,
I have
so-
a bruise like all upside my like hip, my butt cheek
Yep, well,
area.
that's
So
probably-
I'm confused. Like, so you're drunk in the bathroom throwing up. Why did they call an ambulance?
So what happened was, so not only is he throwing up, but after they like got him on his feet a couple times, he ended up with soap in his hair and he's throwing up more. He started throwing up unconsciously and was having irregular breathing. He was showing all the signs of like severe alcohol poisoning.
Oh my.
Yes.
Okay, so shit actually did get serious then. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. This wasn't just throwing up. This
Because
was
up until
like,
just now, you both failed to mention that. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I was gonna let him tell it, but if he really doesn't remember
Look,
much,
I
that
really
much
honestly
about it.
do not
How is he
remember.
going to remember that?
I don't know. He was the one who ended up in the hospital.
He
How
was
many-
unconscious.
Thank
fine.
you, Dark, for understanding. Appreciate
So yeah,
you.
so he had to throw out. Jeff had to throw out his shirt because with all the vomiting going on, the shirt did not survive. So
Yeah, gross. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Wait,
super
how
gross.
did he almost lose his wedding ring then?
So when Zach started becoming a total shit show, Jeff was trying to he had a watch on and he had a dress shirt on originally, and so he was taking all of that stuff off because he knew things were going to be bad. And so he put his rings in his pockets and his watch in his other pocket, and like gave his dress shirt to somebody else. And he thought the ring had just like fallen out of his pocket at one point. But it was later located, so it's okay.
Yeah, I would have been super
Yeah.
bummed if
I think so. Yeah. So Zach's story is mostly told through Jeff's eyes. I like Craig's version of the story because he gets so mad about it.
Wait,
yeah.
so we have another version of this story that needs to be
Yes,
told.
we do.
Okay, Craig, go ahead and begin your story.
Well,
then.
I don't even know I don't know what part you're talking about that I get really mad about it. But
The part where you also ended up in the hospital.
that's very true. So I'll get to it. So
All right.
so I'd like to let everyone know that I had a very stressful day. Okay. I set up a bunch of streams that day. It took us an hour and a half to set up Zelda's stream. It was ridiculous.
She is high maintenance, so that's okay.
No, so it's not just me. It was all the streams that were like that. I want to point out that this weekend would not have happened if Craig had not been there.
Exactly.
Like, he was the saving grace of all of the setup.
We'll say good things about me after I tell about how I got like blackout drunk. So we're doing all this stuff, and so but I'm actually really looking forward to this. I've never been to a Tiara Thursday, and all this stuff, but I'm not a very good drinker. And by that, I mean, I don't like sipping throughout the night. I like getting to buzzed, then I like getting to drunk, and then I like getting to blackout drunk. Those are my levels. I don't like sipping up to them. It's boring. All right? And I like gin. I do like the taste of it. I don't care what anybody says. So,
Pine needles.
So we get everything set up, and then we get Zelda streaming, and I'm like, Lord have mercy. And I sit down, and then I go, Mayhem, pour me a glass. And she's like, cool, what do you want? I go, gin, and then make it 75% gin, and then the rest of it, just make it Sprite. And so she does. And then she gives it to me. And then the people look at me, they're like, how are you doing, Craig? And I just chug that whole glass. And they're like, are you okay, Craig? And I'm like, I'm fine. Let's go. Let's do this thing. And then everybody else is drinking after every one of the things. It's like when Zelda dies, do another thing. And all these things. It was a lot. We got up to like 148 drinks, which is ridiculous.
Yep, by the end of the night, 148.
It's ridiculous and boring. And I'm not going to drink every one of those. That's too much. And so we go through. So I'm a happy buzzed guy. Really good. And then we go through to about like halfway done with the stream. And then I get another glass of gin. And I do 75%, 25%, like I do. And I chug it. And then I was like, I'm good. That's me for the night. But drunk me is different. And he was like...
Drunk you is an idiot.
Drunk me is kind of stupid. Which is bad, because I'm pretty stupid already. And then... because I didn't know people were donating so much, and I was like, that's a crazy amount of money, and people were donating, and I was like, oh my gosh, if people donate $100, I will drink a whole nother thing of gin, because people were getting scared, because they saw me chug the second one, they're like, holy shit, why is Craig doing that? And I was like, I'll do it again, someone donate again, and I will drink a whole nother thing, and I was very adamant that it happened. Because I thought nobody would do it. I'll be completely honest. I thought nobody was going to donate $100. That's freaking ridiculous. Don't throw your money like that. Just see me kill myself. So Pandemic Blonde did. And by this time, I've taken a lot of pictures already of my drunk self. I believe I flicked off Mayhem at one point in time and sent her a picture of it. Which I've forgotten most of these pictures, but they're in my phone and I like them. And so Pandemic Blonde donates it. Second woman to kill me during the night. I hope it's Jen and Pandemic Blonde. Both of them together could have killed me. And so I chugged the last one, and I'm gone. Like it's black. I'm never rolling around on the floor and hitting the camera a bunch of times. I do remember taking a picture of myself being super happy on the floor. And Zach being like super bad behind me, but I was not paying attention to anybody else. I didn't know that Zach was having such a hard time. I also didn't know that Zach was drinking the whole time, keeping up with the 148 drinks, or I would have never roped him into drinking that last thing of gin, because I thought he was his...
Sounds like Zach is like also stupid drunk.
Look,
he's like, yeah,
Zach
I'll
is
do it
stupid
too.
drunk, and he's also like easily hyped. So like... If he feels like he's doing something good, he'll do it more.
Yeah. So
which isn't always a good thing for Zach.
So it was very bad. Definitely should have not let anybody get to the point where I was, but whatever. So I'm rolling around the floor, but then I get to that point where I get too tired. I'm like, I'm going to bed. Screw this. So I go to the bathroom by myself. I'm good. I somehow find my way up to my room, which I did it. I don't know how, but I got up there. I used the key card, which was easy. This is insane to me. And I didn't lose my wallet or anything. And I come in, and Zach, Jeff, and then I forget the other guy's name, but they were all in the bathroom to our room. Zach and I were sharing a room. This is a very important part.
Okay.
A single bed, by the way.
Ooh la la.
And so I come in, and
I'm jealous.
I come in. I don't see Zach. I figure out that he's in there later, and I go sup to the guy that's just in the doorway, and then I come over and I take off my shoes and throw everything out of my pockets and slam my face right into the bed and instantly fall asleep. And then the next thing I know, I wake up in a hospital bed without my shoes, without my glasses, with an IV in my arm, and Mark, the owner of the con, across sitting in the room in the same room. And I go, what is going on? And he was like, so you guys got a little drunk, and then someone called an ambulance, and they picked up Zach, and then they also picked up you and brought you here, and now they're running an IV through you and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, well, that's fucking stupid. Then I went back to sleep. And then over the course, I woke up, went back to sleep. So basically, I got 4 IVs put through me. And I filled up 3 of those big, they give you like these big cups, I don't know, like water bottles, like really big water bottles, and you pee in them. And so they're called urinals, but they're not like regular urinals. So I filled up 3 of those, 4 IVs, and then they were finally like, okay, we need to discharge him. He's good. Like I gave all of my information perfectly. Like I even gave him my insurance information. I called them back to verify my insurance information, and they're like, oh, we already got it. And I was like, then what? Like, why was I there? But whatever. So I was very adamant about go seeing Zach. And they take me and Mark to this whole other ward where they have to do a key card to get into the ward. And Zach is in a room, pitch black, by himself. And I'm like, well, we got to go in there and make sure he's alive. And so we go in there and we check that he's breathing, and he's good. And I don't know how long he was in there, and I think he was in there like about 5 more hours after I left. So then I left, and Mark took me home, and then back to the hotel, and I went.
You keep calling him Mark. His name's not Mark. Craig.
Matt. I'm sorry. Mark is my other boss. Matt. I'm sorry. So sorry. Matt is hopefully.
I'm so confused now. So this is a different person.
Oh my god.
Altogether.
So Mark takes us back to the hotel, or me back to the hotel, and I go to sleep. And then I wake up. Zach has come in, and he gets in bed, and I'm like, oh, I hope you're okay. And I go back to sleep, and then I wake up, and Zach's gone again. And I get up, and I'm like, well, shit, where's Zach? And I find him downstairs with like the biggest hangover I've ever seen. At the dinner table with you guys. And I was like, you okay, bro? And he was like,
That was literally the worst hangover I have ever witnessed.
Yes.
Like, anybody have. And yeah, Super Snake's point now, like, Zach made it to his stream that he was supposed to be streaming that morning, and he made it in for that.
Yeah.
And then he died shortly after, but, like, he made it for his fucking stream, which was crazy.
And then
My
he
favorite
literally
part of,
died afterwards.
quite literally. My favorite part of Craig's story is when this was all when we were all getting filled in on this the next day, is you were so mad, you're like, I can't believe I ended up in the hospital. I was there by proxy. That's bullshit.
They picked me up because what I was told is that they came in and they're like, Zach, got him, let's go, put him on the stretcher. And then they looked at me. I'm in bed sleeping like a drunk person does, all right? That's what you do after you drink. You go to bed and you wake up.
It's true.
And Jeff was super nice. He brought 3 bottles of water. I don't know if I asked for them or not, but I drank them in the morning either way. And that's all I needed. And I wasn't hungover afterwards, so I don't know what happened. So they're like, they look at me. Apparently they get me up and they're like, they talk to me. I talk back to them and they're still like, he's going. He's got.
So these motherfuckers like kidnapped you and took you to the hospital,
and
when you were minding your own business.
And people keep telling me, they're like, you could have refused it, and I go, no, I was drunk. And I was
you were drunk. You can't refuse it.
I was like, I couldn't have refused it. I knew I was good. Even Jeff and the other guy kind of stood up for me. They're like, no, he like came in, he was fine. They still took me.
Yeah, it's like I've been that drunk before. Like when you're that far gone and you're so sleepy, it's like you will say anything to get people to leave you alone. You're like you hear them saying something like yeah whatever, just go away, and then the next thing you know you're being kidnapped and hauled off to the hospital.
Yeah, I don't like waking up in the hospital. I don't.
What I want to know is Zach.
Mm-hmm.
How did explaining this to your parents go when you got home?
Super well, actually. Way
Yeah?
well than I could ever
Really?
imagine.
They're like, oh yeah, we expect this of you.
No,
so.
no, not at all.
It's okay.
No, not at all. They're just like, well, next time, just tell us, because I was super shocked and didn't want to tell them. And I'm like, I don't want to tell them until I get into person so they can see the regret in my eyes. And I was like, okay, so Dad, so the millennials weren't exaggerating when I said I died. I went to the hospital because they probably had alcohol poisoning, and they're like, okay, you should have told us, but I'm glad you're safe. And then we had a little chat. We hugged like a big old family, and then we're like, okay, from now on, when you're traveling, if you go to the hospital, you need to text /message /call us as soon as that happens. And I'm like, okay, from now on, that'll be a thing. Oh, God, but that was like, I was stressing out the whole entire time I was at the airport. I'm like, I was rehearsing a speech. I was practicing all these different things. I was getting ready to
Do you live with your parents still?
Yeah, currently, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like, because I'm trying to think like if it were me and I were telling this story to my mother, I mean, she'd probably be laughing her ass off at me for making such a fool of myself. Like, she wouldn't give two shits.
Well, also, we're under our parents' insurance still.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So they're gonna get a bill for an ambulance ride and a hospital visit. That ain't cheap. So my mom. So I told my mom on the ride home after she picked me up.
How'd that go?
Really well. She was as pissed off as I was.
It's like, why'd they kidnap you?
She was like that.
I mean, I would be upset.
I'm definitely my mom's son. As weird as that sounds, I know. But she was like, what the hell? She was like, you could have said no. And I was like, Mom, I was drunk. She's like, you could have said no. And I was like, I was asleep. You know that I sleep talk too. She was like, you could have said no. I can't. This is ridiculous. And I was like,
That's ridiculous.
I was like, I know. So we're gonna get a bill. And she was like, that's fine, but this is ridiculous. And she was like, okay. And so that was that whole conversation with my mom. So that was pretty good. I thought it was gonna be worse, but
me too. I thought my ass was in for like all kinds of like indentured servitude.
And both your guys' parents are like, this is the last time we ever let him travel.
Well, my brother was I have a bigger or an older brother, and he was a lot worse than I was. So
so how old are you then?
I'm 22 in like a week.
Oh, wait, and I forget, Zach. I should know how old you are.
I'm 21. I'm 21.
Yeah.
God damn it! Both a couple of babies.
Both a couple of babies. I don't know why I said it like that, but
that's how it happened.
Yeah.
So
out of our whole crew, Jeff was the oldest one, as we figured out the first night. So Jeff was the oldest, and I was second oldest.
Jeff did act like praise be to Jeff. Such an amazing person.
God,
you guys are I mean, guys, like, we can still drink alcohol. Everybody in chat's like, no more alcohol for you guys. You make a mistake, you learn from it, you learn your limit. This is how things happen.
Yeah.
Is that how it's supposed to go?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so people in my chat, like, when I was telling the story yesterday, were very much like, I mean, so do you regret that? No. Like, I had a great time. I wish I didn't go to the hospital, but, I mean, like...
I agree with you.
Like, you know,
because the trick is to like when you find out what your limit is, then you continue to push the limit until you no longer have that limit anymore.
I don't think that's with alcohol. I don't. Yeah. I think that's. I think that's
no.
What
it totally works with alcohol.
That's what.
Zelda can vouch for me on this. You just got to train your liver, and your liver's like, all right, cool, I'm down for this.
Yeah, I kind of
like-
forgot about the whole thing. I just need to stop. No one should go drinking with me. Now, Dark, now that you've brought up when we went drinking together.
No, I've got this. Next time, it will be totally cool. I have just, like, downed an entire bottle of wine. The whole thing. And I'm still mostly good.
We're mostly good. Yeah. I'll take that, yeah.
I don't know. It was a fun trip, and then the rest of the streams went like that was the start of our con. Okay, well,
wait, that's how it started?
Yeah, that's how the con
started. Yeah, that was
started.
night one. That was all night.
Holy
one.
shit!
That was all night one.
We had barely been there for 24 hours before Zach ended up in the hospital.
So that's good. And then like Friday went. Was anything wrong with Friday?
Friday was prop hunt.
Prop hunt definitely kind of worked, which is very nice. I don't know.
After an hour and a half delay again for having to scramble to put shit together.
Always,
but yes.
always. But I had a ton of fun with prop hunt. I thought everybody.
That was awesome.
We got people that weren't gonna play things to play things. We had like Carl and Fox in there, and I didn't think they were gonna do anything.
I was so mad.
Were you guys all in like a local server sort of thing, or how did you?
Yeah, we set up a local server thanks to Tony, which was our tech guy who put everything together for us.
Yeah, we were on the same LAN network because they were doing LOL tournaments for the whole thing. So we had about
LOL tournaments. What's that?
League of Legends.
Oh, League of Legends. Okay.
Yeah, they had about.
I don't know why I've never heard of it referred to as LOL before.
I don't know why either. Aren't you playing it on stream right now?
I am.
Oh, LOL. So they had 30 computers hooked up for that. So we were like, we're taking 6 of these for our stream, and they were like, we didn't plan for that. I was like, well, you better get it set up because we're doing this at like 8, and then we did it at like 9. So.
Yeah, that was it. I was so mad when we were on our way back home. We're like in the airport, and Jeff is like, well, I was watching you guys play. He's like, prop hunt looked like a lot of fun. I wish I had been able to play. I was like, you should have said something. He's like, well, it was your guys' thing. I'm like, Tony ended up playing because we had an empty chair. I'm like, you could have asked to play.
What?
I was so mad. He wanted to play and he didn't say anything.
I invited him to everything.
Yep. He's like, I'm not one of the streamers. I shouldn't be here. I'm like, Tony was fucking playing for one of the rounds.
Anybody
could have fucking played.
What?
Nope.
So we need to get Jeff on the podcast right now.
What the heck?
I was so mad. I was like, you can't be all poo-pooey because you didn't get to play because you didn't fucking ask. No.
I invited him to everything.
Yeah. I think he felt like you. I think he does the thing. He does it like I do it too. Where he's like, he thought he was being invited because that was like the nice thing, and he was my tag along, and he's like, I'm not actually supposed to be on screen for anything, so I'm not going to.
No, I was inviting him because he's an amazing person, and he needs to be in my life.
Exactly.
I know, right?
I'm madder than the freaking hospital. It's ridiculous.
You want to get on the podcast? Are you listening to the podcast downstairs? So Jeff is here.
Of course I'm listening to the podcast downstairs.
We're not poo-pooing on you. I said I was mad that you said you wanted to play prop hunt. You didn't actually say anything during prop hunt.
I know. I heard everything.
He may not be mad, but I'm mad.
I can't hear anything.
See, so
That's right.
So
I need-
Dark
I
just
need
said
the
he's mad
headphone.
at you.
All right, hold on a second. Okay, I can hear now.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I agree with Craig here. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm mad that you didn't get involved when you had the chance. Shame on you.
Shame on you for being
May
nice.
shame be heaped upon your head.
I was busy recouping from saving Zach's life.
Look,
Oh, don't give me
That's very
that.
I will allow that.
Like it's Zach.
Jeff
Well,
can do no wrong in my eyes. # praise Jeff.
Can we get Jeff's impression of me while he's here?
I think it needs to happen on stream, so I think you need to see the way he does the head movement.
Yeah. There's motions with it too, Craig. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's. I'm looking forward to it now. I really am. Jeff, I miss you so much. Come back.
I miss you too, Craig.
Oh my god. Hey, Jeff.
How much have you had to drink tonight, buddy? He's like, oh my god. Oh my god.
So someone donate another 100 right now.
Oh god, no.
To me, please, this time.
Yeah,
If I'm going to be killing myself, I need to pay back that hospital room.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, so that was that. So that day was okay. That day went off without too much of an issue, just like normal technical stuff. Next day, I guess same stuff, maybe more technical issues though. I know I was running around a lot more. Because they wanted me to set up a stream for the
Twitch
LOL
casting.
competition.
Yeah.
For some ungodly reason. I don't...
Yeah.
They were like...
I don't
They
even
asked me an hour before. They were like, hey, can you set this up? I was like, what is it? And they were like, well, it's this. I was like, you better give me an hour and a half. And they're like, okay. And so... So we set that up, and we had streams all day. We didn't take any breaks. I mean, and then we had the Artemis stream, which setting that up was just like the biggest headache, and nothing went well. And then I had to stay up all night. After the Artemis stream, I had to get serious with 2 people, and I'm not a very serious person. But I did.
I can't even imagine serious Craig. I can't even.
I'm glad that nobody has to see it. But I had to get serious with 2 grown adults, and one that I didn't know. So I almost blew up on this lady, and I was shaking with rage. I really was after it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know the lady, and she didn't know us, and she kind of ruined our stream. And so I basically go up to her, and I'm like, did you ruin the stream? And she was like, I did. What ruined the stream? And I don't want to talk about it. But, and so I go, don't ever do that again. I swear to God, if you come and tell me about that, I will tell you not to do that. Do not ever mess with my stuff. And I was like, I was about to explode. I said more words to her. And then I just walked around the convention hall for about like 30 minutes, seething with rage. And it was too much. And then I had to stay in that mood basically until I had my flight and I could sleep. I didn't sleep until maybe 6 that day when I was on the plane, and I had been up for 24 hours. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that people would make me
you
be
had
like
a chat
this.
for a bit.
We did have a chat. Zach, you don't keep me up, man. I wanted to take a nap.
I'm sorry.
Zach starts getting existential on me after when we get back in the hotel room, and I'm just sitting there like trying to pack up and stuff. And so we have a great conversation too, and then I immediately go down and have to take an Uber to the airport because they don't have any shuttles that were out that early for my freaking flight. And then I get to my flight, and then I take a nap on the flight. Then I have a good Sunday. And that was about it for the rest of my stuff.
I can never sleep on planes, but I passed the fuck out as soon as we boarded in Denver. We had a direct flight from Denver to Detroit, thank God. And it was like as soon as I got on the plane, I was pretty much out. I was like, I can't do it. I was awake for long enough for the girl that was sitting next to me. So we were in a Airbus 320 or whatever, and so it's 3 seats across. And I was in the middle, and Lolink was in the aisle. And so there's this other girl that's in the window seat, and she sits down, and she looks at me, she's like, do you guys fly a lot? I'm like, well, I don't know what you'd really call, like, a lot. I'm like, this is my 7th flight since the beginning of this year, but that's unusual for me. So, like, and she's like, okay. She's like, well, I just wanted to let you know, she's like, I have, like, crazy major anxiety about flying. She's like, I've taken my meds, but I just want you to know, she's like, I might just start crying, and I just want you to know that it's okay.
If I start crying, don't worry.
So, like, I'm glad she warned me about it, but I was also like, now that I'm flying a lot more, it's not as bad, but, like, I used to get crazy anxiety being on a plane, too, because I was fine for the longest time. And the problem is I learned too much about the science about how planes work, and now I'm convinced it shouldn't work, and now I just freak out. So, like, anytime I was flying by myself, like, especially during takeoff and landing, I'm like, this is statistically the worst part of this, and the parts that's the most mathematically improbable.
I just accept death as soon as I get on the plane. Just like,
okay, great. Yeah, so I'm like...
Yeah, that's why it's so exciting. It's like, I always love the landing and the taking off, because that's, like, the part where, like, you're really, like, rolling the dice. I'm like, yeah!
See, I'm not... There's a reason I don't gamble when I'm in Vegas, even. I'm just like, I just don't. I play the bingo. That's about it.
The bingo.
So yeah, so I was like, I was glad she warned me, but I was like, I understand it and I get it. So like as we're starting to taxi, I'm looking at her. She's got her stuffed bear and she's holding that, and like this is like she's like a young adult, like I'm gonna call her early 20s, but you could tell the meds are kicking in, but not as quickly as she would have liked. And she's got a stuffed bear. She's just sitting there with her eyes closed, and I leaned over. I was like, are you one of those people where I should leave you alone, or do you want to like hold my hand or something? Like, what do you need? And she looked like she was gonna cry. She's like, that's the nicest thing. She's like, nobody's ever offered that before. Thank you so much. She's like, I think I'm okay, but I really appreciate it. I was like, okay, good.
That is so adorable, Zelda.
I was like, I've been there, and I don't understand it sucks, especially when you're traveling by yourself. So we got in the air. She didn't cry, so I'm proud of her. And then I immediately passed out until we landed. So it was pretty great.
I had a window seat going there, and I drooled all over myself when I slept. And I go to sleep like right before we start taxiing. Like I'm gone. I just don't. I'm not gonna deal with it, kind of thing. Like that's the only time that I get to myself, basically, like to do anything. So I go to sleep on planes, and so I drooled all over myself, and then I woke up for the last 30 minutes of my flight and had to listen to a couple argue about what the guy was going to do for a job after they got back from this vacation. Like, classic...
Wow, what a shitty vacation.
Yeah, I was like, classic just have to be, like, next to the most annoying people on a plane, but I can't believe that they were doing that when they were on vacation, but whatever. And then I had a whole row to myself on the flight back. And I was...
Oh, that's awesome.
I was about to just, like, put up all the arm rests and just, like, go just horizontal on it. Not even caring. But I don't think they would like that very much, so I didn't. Those are my
Who's they? Who's this mysterious they that you're talking about that wouldn't appreciate that?
The people that
flight
fly the
attendant,
plane?
pilot, people that don't have, like, a whole row to themselves.
The pilot's flying, so I don't think he would give a shit.
No, he'd come back and he'd badmouth me. Well, that's why they have a second pilot up there, so he can come back and badmouth me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Exactly, that's how that works.
Well, you don't know that until they come and do it. And then
My flight in was pretty spectacular. I missed my shuttle. I walked out, I got all my stuff, and then I see the shuttle drive away. I asked the lady, "Is that on Island 3?" I'm like, "Is that the Radisson shuttle?" She's like, "Yep, you just missed it." I'm like, "Fuck." Okay, go back, because, you know, my phone isn't working, so I'm using Twitter to communicate with everyone. So I'm like, I go back, message Jen. I'm like, da-da-da-da, this is when I'm going to get here, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, all that con stuff happens. My flight back to to Tucson, missed it because I misread my connecting flights, and I thought that was the time. That was the whole thing. So then
Wait, you did what?
I missed my.
He zacked it up again.
Exactly.
Look.
I'm dyslexic.
Oh, yeah, that's one of our other inside jokes. Craig, we forgot to tell you. Zacking it up is code for fuck up.
Ha ha ha! Animal penis.
Basically, you're inducted. You know the inside jokes now. But yeah, so I blame the being really, really, like, just not okay and dyslexic on misreading my
Sure.
my itinerary.
Well, that was like how last RTX, we were supposed to pick you up at 11, but you told us it was just 1 o'clock. So we were like hanging out in the hotel room, and you're like, "Oh, I'm here already."
Wait,
Look,
so by the time you were on your flight back, like the hospital thing was over with. Had you sobered up, or you were still drunk?
No, I'm still.
What? You
still
can't
sober.
stay
I
that.
was-
You can't stay
Okay.
drunk that long, can you?
I mean,
Well, no,
It
he
was
could have
like
kept on. He
four
could have kept
days
on
passed.
drinking.
yeah,
4 days.
have passed.
No, we told him we were like, absolutely the fuck not. You're not drinking anymore this weekend. You were
Okay.
in the hospital for it.
I'm like, so how does one do that then? Like, I had to fly after going out a night drinking with Zelda to where, like, it was the hangover from hell. And I'm like eating pizza the next
I'm
morning just so
sensing
I
a
have
pattern with
something in my
drinking.
stomach. And I fly anyway, and like everything goes without a hitch aside from how horrible I feel. Like, how does one fuck that
Look,
up
man,
so badly?
I'm dyslexic. It was a mile high.
I'm dyslexic
I'm
too.
sick.
All
Don't
right,
believe
all right.
me.
We're all dyslexic here. Give him a break.
All right, so you missed your flight.
So I had to go back to the hotel, and luckily...
I'm just amazed at the
We're all
ineptitude that's
dyslexic
on
here.
display here.
Give him a break.
Thank you, Craig.
I just can't get over this.
We're
I
all
would love to go for a break,
dyslexic
but I have to get over the shock first. Oh my god.
So let me finish this goddamn story. So
Oh yeah, please
I go
do.
back to the hotel, and Jen's like, "You could have my bed. Me and Mika will share." And this is Mayhem Muse and Ginger Mika, because they have 2 beds, and they shared the bed. Well, actually, Jen got into a chair, and Mika was sleeping in her bed. I fell asleep, and then they
Wait,
woke
who
up
were
at
you
whatever.
sleeping with?
What?
He was sleeping by
So who were you sleeping with?
So
No,
I'm
but-
sleeping by myself.
Oh, okay.
Ginger Mika, which is an awesome cosplayer, which is someone we met at the
She was
Genghiscon.
also sleeping by herself.
She was sleeping
and then
on a
Jin was
separate-
also sleeping by herself.
Correct.
Is this
So
is this
everyone
like,
was in different rooms and not sleeping with each
No.
other. Okay, got it.
not in the?
Yeah.
Do we have to draw a diagram? And does this matter?
No,
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 we
it
got
doesn't
it.
anymore.
We
Ultimately,
got
does
it.
not matter.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they wake up at 3 o'clock, and I say good luck with the flights, and then I think we hug. I don't remember. I'm tired. And they leave, and then I go
Did
back
you try
to
and
sleep.
slip him the tongue?
What?
When you said you hugged him, did you try and slip him the tongue?
Through the hug, like on their
No,
shoulder?
I don't. I
I'm
think.
never gonna hug Dark again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, nobody.
only
I don't
gonna
think
hug-
you ever. I don't think you've ever hugged me.
I think
It's
I'm
not
only
going
gonna hug
now.
sober Dark. Yeah, exactly. Hugs do not involve tongue, sir.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Damn.
You have a weird
This
family
explains
relationship.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a weird relationship. This explains so much. Yeah, but then at 6 o'clock I wake up, get my shuttle. It's 8 o'clock. My flight isn't till 11 because I wanted to be extra early because I don't want to miss it
Sure
again.
this time.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
was
sure?
positive. I was positive this time, and I didn't want to miss my flight. So I was like, I need to get up and I need to be at at the airport like 3 hours early. I want to be there 3 hours early. So I was there at 3 hours early. Had nothing to do. Super still like sick / hungover. All the food sucks and is expensive. Bought some Dayquil for like $15, which is bullshit, by the way. $15 for Dayquil. Fuck you, airport. Slept on the floor next to where I was boarding. Woke up as they were boarding and got on my flight home. And rest is history.
Fun.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. So
So
yeah, loads of
yeah.
fun. Very boring.
So,
All right.
OK Con, amazing people.
Agreed.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Absolutely agreed. If it was not for the people, I'd probably be like, I don't really need to do that again.
Yeah.
Look, at least, and Zach, you can at least look forward to being like, this is a story you can tell the grandchildren.
Exactly. Don't drink a whole bunch in an altitude you're unfamiliar with, kids.
Oh
It's,
yeah, I couldn't figure walk a mile up. in that
Oh
altitude.
yeah, it would have been super heightened.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Like, there were times where I'm like, why am I out of breath? This is ridiculous.
I never had a problem. At one point, like my knees hurt because I have the body of a 70-year-old where I get a headache.
Except for your liver.
Except for that, yeah.
I don't know, my
I get a
grandma can
headache
drink.
if the temperature.
There's justice,
Also-
after all. It's like
No,
there-
see, you know how when Link and Zelda they have the Triforce pieces on their hand? Her Triforce piece resides in her liver.
Yeah,
Yes, I have the
exactly.
Triforce of Power on my liver. That has got to be it.
That is a gross
yeah, no, like, I
misuse of that
didn't-
power.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, hey, we all have our interpretations. But yeah, no, it's like my knees hurt if there's a pressure change, and I get a headache if there's a huge temperature change coming. So like, I know when there's a storm happening and all of that because I'm like, oh, we're gonna get a storm in a couple hours because my knees hurt. Like,
You're
I'm not
so
kidding.
That's
I
amazing.
No,
I
that's a
totally, my
regular
body doesn't.
thing.
So my knees hurt the first day we were there because like of the pressure change because of the altitude. And I was like, why do my knees hurt? Oh yeah, I'm a mile high. That's probably it.
Mile high.
But other than that, it's like I didn't have any problems with. I didn't feel like the drinking was any different for me. I didn't have any problems where I was like felt winded all of a sudden. I was like, you guys are a bunch of wusses.
I felt winded when we walked to the store, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" It's like
Yeah.
I ran a couple of miles before we came up here, and then I was like, and then Eric Lindell was like, "Dude, we're a mile up," and I was like, "Oh my god, you're right!" And then I almost
doesn't
died.
look It doesn't look like it's a mile up because you could see mountains in the distance. So like, well, they're taller than me, so I can't be all that high.
Exactly.
Like, it's totally how my brain was doing it. So
I don't know. I know that I couldn't walk a mile without getting out of breath, and I was like, "What the hell is going on with me?"
Wait, so since you all were a mile up, did anybody bother to have sex with anybody while you were there
I
so you
think
could be part of the Mile High Club?
I think you have to do it in flight, or it doesn't count.
No, that's a technicality.
That's
like,
what
you can
Craig
create
told
your
me.
own Mile High Club for vacation.
Okay, you
whatever.
can't create you can't be like, "Oh, I'm in the Craig's Mile High Club, and they'll just be like, "So you just jacked off?" And I'm just like, "I don't."
No. It doesn't count if you just jacked off. Like, but if you were like, if
But
you
it's
went
my
somewhere
Mile
that was
High
not your
Club.
home,
I can do whatever I want. Who am I gonna have sex with? Zach?
If
He was the only one in the
Yeah.
room.
You guys, you did have one bed.
We did have one.
It was a king size bed, though. He never came close.
Look, we had a king size bed.
I had to share a room with Zach one year, and he was pretty damn irresistible. So
Okay, well I'll tell you right now. No, I did come up. I do remember this though. I came up to our room and it had a do not disturb on the outside of it, and I was like, excuse me. And I was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Cause I think I thought Zach was out of the room," and I was like, "Oh my, oh no!" And so I knocked on the door a couple times, and I was like, "I'm not hearing an answer. I'm not hearing beds move around. I guess I'm coming in." And so I did. I came in, and I was like, eyes to the side, not even looking in, and I was like, "Zach, are you in here having sex? Because if you are, I do not need to be in here." And I looked and nobody was in there, and I was like, well, man, I thought I was going to get 2 stories out of this, and gosh dang it.
Look, that was because the cleaning lady came by every 5 minutes and asked to clean the room. So I'm like,
oh, she was like, was it on Dumb and Dumber? She's like, housekeeping. No, that was Tommy Boy. Housekeeping.
Get the cleaning lady in there. Dark really wants that Mile High Club. I don't know.
Look,
man.
I'm
just saying, if I were there, I would have found someone to have sex with, so I could be like, yeah, I had sex a mile up.
Look,
all right, next convention, I'm staying away from you.
Yeah.
Craig, it's the sea level club. Just come on. No, Dark, I'm not coming to your room. God, we're in Texas. Get off my back. There's no club.
Oh, if you prefer to be on your belly, then whatever.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Also, a weird thing that happened to me every time I went to the bathroom, someone would knock on the door and be like, housekeeping, and I was like. And they ask if someone is in there because they're going to change out paper towels and shit. And I'm like, I'm in here. Like, every single time. I literally every single time I went in there.
Your bowel movements were in sync with the housekeeping schedule.
I guess. That's really kind of a weird thing to get in sync with.
Chat is just going crazy with our couple named Craig. I have Zach Holliday, Crack.
They spelled my name wrong.
Like Crack. Oh my god.
Jan Lee, get out of here. You spelled my name wrong. You can't make any more jokes in the chat. Get out. You already messed it up. I've been tweeted a number of times that there's a fanfic being made.
Yep.
Yeah, guys, we need to wrap this. We need to wrap this up. We've reached the end.
Nah, we can go 3 hours.
Yeah,
we started later, didn't we?
Yeah, it's 16 minutes after, so we are later.
Well, yeah, my recording is up to 1 hour and 8. So, I mean, we can end
so
or
this
whatever.
is the time where Craig needs to pimp his shit.
Alright, guys, my name is Craig, I'm the Mr. Holliday. You can find me over at twitch.tv/weirdlinks or on Twitter, twitter.com/the Mr. And we'll put it in chat.
Oh, yeah. In the link dump. All that shit.
In the link dump.
We'll even put it in the chat without the shitty radio voice.
Yeah, and I'll mail it to you, and you guys can catch me at, what did I say earlier, 7153 the Edge. Here we are, man. Blah, blah.
No, you said 7:53, and I was like,
I don't listen to the radio! We can move on.
Alright. Shit, Teach and Lee's not here to plug our shit now.
I can do who wants to do
Zach,
okay.
It's your job to do this.
Alright, so we at the forum thread, you can catch us here on Twitch live every Wednesday, 8 Central, 9 EST, /the forum thread, www.twitch.tv/the forum thread. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter at the forum thread, TFT plays at the forum thread, also on Twitter. Those are both Twitter names. We also have a website, www.theforumthread. iTunes, we're on iTunes for your posts, archive, whatever you want, all the time. Just look up the forum thread and you'll find us there. And I believe that's about... YouTube, TFT Plays and TFT Productions, both awesome channels where we post our live action stuff for TFT Productions, and TFT Plays we post our VODs and Let's Plays.
And also XTube with TFT Lays.
Yep, TFT Lays coming soon. Thanks for some footage featuring special guest Craig.
Yeah!
Hey. They're my solo
You're a
projects.
special guest.
Please donate to my Patreon. I just want to keep doing what I love, guys.
Yep.
I miss my calling as a cam girl. I'm getting back to it.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. We will see you all again, same time next week. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.